The time now is 6:56. We will resume with our meeting. At this time, we are on item 4, consideration of consent items. I will read each of the items individually, and my colleagues, if there's any that you would like to pull, just let me know. Item 4A, consider and take action regarding approving board minutes from the special meeting held on October 7th, October 21st, October 24th, and the regular meeting held on October 10th, 2019. B, consider and take action regarding approving monthly financial information as of September 30th, 2019. C, consider and take action regarding approving expenditures equal to or greater than $50,000. D, consider and take action regarding approving budget transfers across expenditure functions categories. E, consider and take action approving the ranking of the engineering firms for the services related to the testing and the balancing phase of the construction at Veterans Memorial High School. F, consider and take action regarding approving the resolution to establish a healthcare 504 program. Pull. G, consider and take action regarding approving the submittals for request for proposal for 20-04 computer and networking equipment. H, consider and take action regarding approving the submittal for request for proposal 20-06 street and parking lot striping. Striping, thank you. I, consider and take action regarding approving the submittal for request for proposal 20-07 landscaping maintenance services. J, consider and take action regarding approving the submittals for request for proposal 20-10 demographic study. K, consider and take action regarding approving the Judson Independent School District's annual financial audit report for fiscal year 2019. L, consider and take action regarding approving the submission of the 2019 tax roll as certified by Bexar County Tax Assessor Collector for the Judson Independent School District. M, consider and take action regarding approving the transfer of certain bond proceeds from Proposition 2 to Proposition 1 on the district's 2016 bond election in order to complete various items associated with Park Village Elementary upgrade. N, consider and take action regarding approving the targeted improvement plans for the campuses that are required to implement state-directed interventions, Kirby Middle School, Metzger Middle School, and Franz Elementary. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. At this time, we are going to vote for items A through E, G through N. You may proceed. Okay. Motion pass. Oh, Ms. King, you'll need to confirm, Ms. King? Okay. And that motion passes. Thank you. Item F, consider and take action regarding approving the resolution to establish a healthcare 504 program. Is there a motion? I make a motion that we consider and take action regarding approving the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. I pulled this item because it is a resolution and I'd like to read it. Whereas Judson Independent School District is a political subdivision of the state of Texas operating under Chapter 391 Texas Local Government Code, and whereas Judson Independent School District provides self-insured workers' compensation medical benefits to insured employees of Judson Independent School District, and whereas Judson Independent School District has determined that a workers' compensation health care network certified under Chapter 1305 Insurance Code is not practical for Judson Independent School District. Now, therefore, Judson Independent School District elects to establish a health care program by directly contracting with healthcare providers for workers' compensation medical benefits as permitted under Chapter 504.053 of the Texas Labor Code Local Political Subdivisions. And now, Board, you may proceed to vote. That motion also passes. We will move on to item 5A. Consider and take possible action regarding the approval of inductees to the Judson ISD Civic and Athletic Hall of Honor as selected by the Hall of Honor committees. Dr. Ball? Oh, is there a motion?
I move we approve the Hall of Honor selections.
I second it. Dr. Ball?
Yes, Judson ISD takes great pride in individuals that support our district in various ways. So there have been 2 awards that have been given, which is the Judson ISD Civic and Athletic Hall of Honor. And we would like to recognize these individuals, but not until the gala, excuse me, sorry. It is a secret. Come to the gala.
However, I would like to add that, Dr. Ball, it was mentioned to me that possibly the committee, the selection committee, may want to take a look at revamping the nomination forms. This is the feedback that I got, that without having a lot of written information about the person, they could be rejecting somebody that might be worthy of being in. So there's a possibility maybe of taking a look at the nomination forms and allowing for more information to be given to it.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. We welcome back feedback. We'll go ahead and establish a committee to look at that and make any necessary changes, because we certainly wouldn't want to exclude anybody that's worthy of this honor. So thank you for that feedback. If I could also add, we've been learning that feedback is a gift. Holdsworth says this over and over to us. So thank you for the gift, ma'am.
You're quite welcome. All right, so at this time, Board, you may proceed to vote. That vote passes unanimously. 5B, consider and take action regarding approving the ballot cast for Bear Appraisal District Board of Directors casting 201 votes by resolution. Is there a motion? Motion made by Mr. Diaz.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Canoyer. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. Every school district is allotted a certain amount of votes, and what we would like to do is for the Judson ISD votes to go to Sherry Byram.
Sherry Byram. Is there any discussion? I do believe, Board, that she's the one that has represented Judson ISD for several years. So,
And the individual enjoys doing this, would
Okay.
like to continue
well,
to do
she
this.
likes it, we want her to. You may proceed to vote. That vote passes unanimously. Item 5C. Consider and take action regarding approving the ranking of the submittals for the request for competitive sealed proposal 19-22, Park Village Elementary Modernization and Improvements. Is there a motion?
I recommend we approve the ranking of the submittals for RFCSP 1922 Park Village ES modernizations and improvements for hiring of a general contractor to complete the project as presented in the attachments, and delegate the authority to the superintendent or her designee to execute all contracts and related documents necessary to complete this project.
Perfect. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. You may proceed. That vote passes unanimously. Item 5D, consider and take possible action regarding amending the 2019-2020 compensation plan to increase compensation to meet House Bill 3 compensation requirements and eliminate the previously approved retention incentive for December 2019 that was submitted by Ms. Canoyer. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Canoyer. Is there a second? I'll second that. Dr. Ball?
Yes, I would like for the board to consider something a little bit different in regards to what is on the agenda, but I'd like to give some history for you to be able to make your decision. So back in August, we passed a compensation plan. The compensation plan was to meet House Bill 3 regulations. House Bill 3 had a very specific rules in regards to what the compensation would have to be for employees. The specific part was the amount. It would have to be 30% of that amount. So we passed a compensation plan back in August. During that time period, there was also a motion made to offer an incentive to teachers, counselors, librarians, and nurses that had 6 or more years of service within the district. Every year, we don't know the number of students that we will get in our district. Unfortunately, in the past, Judson ISD had been declining in enrollment. But I'm very proud to say that we have increased our enrollment, and we have over 800 students compared to last year. So that is amazing, so very proud. So because our enrollment has increased, then that means our revenue has increased, which means that that pot of money of the 30% has increased. So what I would like for the board to consider is that we increase our compensation plan, but leave also the incentive plan that was approved back in August. I'd like to give some specific information about the incentive plan and then offer the board the opportunity to ask me any questions, and also like to let you know that I probably will rely on Mr. Adkins to help me out when I get stuck, okay? So the incentive would be a certain dollar, excuse me, not the incentive would stay the same. The incentive would stay the same for counselors, nurses, teachers, and librarians. The incentive was a $500,000 amount to be split between those individuals that met that criteria. I'm trying to use my words very carefully because everybody heard something different, okay? I can give you an approximate amount. The approximate amount was about $413 for teachers, counselors, librarians, and nurses. So we would like to leave that intact, but have a pay compensation change to our compensation plan that increases the compensation for every employee in our district starting in January. This compensation plan would be just like a raise, which means that you can use it for TRS purposes when you retire. It is not just a one-time incentive because that is our compensation plan, so every year then it continues to grow. And I'm not sure what else I left out, so Bill, go for it.
No, ma'am, you covered it well. And so the reason why we don't want to do them on the same month is because of the complexity of trying to get that into payroll and to make sure that it's accurate. And so we would like to do one month and one the next month.
So I would like to open it up for questions, Madam President.
All right, is there any discussion? Ms. Canoyer?
So my understanding is that the retention incentive that we approved will be paid in December. Is it a separate check or included in their regular check?
It will be included in the regular check, but it will be a separate amount.
Right.
And it will be, well, it'll be at the monthly, I
Right.
think it's the 15th of the month.
And then in January, we will start the pay raise, and that is retroactive?
Yes, ma'am, it will be retroactive. So in January, again, there will be a small lump sum to pay for the retroactive portion, and then the check will increase from there to the end of their contract.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
Then, Madam President, I would like to withdraw my motion and submit a new motion. I move that we approve the amendment to the 2019-2020 compensation plan to increase compensation to comply with House Bill 3 compensation requirements and keep the previously approved retention incentive for December 2019.
And keep rather than eliminate.
Correct.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. At this time, Board, if there's no further discussion, you may proceed to vote. That vote passes unanimously, Dr. Ball.
Madam President, may I say a few clarifying just to
Yes, ma'am,
to make
absolutely.
it a little certain? But first and foremost, for the staff that's here, and for anybody that's watching and listening, we want you to know that money could never, there's never enough money to justify how much y'all do and how much y'all deserve and how hard y'all work. But we want you to know that on behalf of the entire administration and this committed school board, we do care about our employees. We always want to do right by our employees, and I hope that you will see that I am blessed to have an amazing board that truly shows that our employees are amazing people. A couple of things that I want still for people to understand. Our district is still in a deficit, so that doesn't change. So there's still hard decisions that are to be made for our district. So to me, it's always very important to also share that information. So I want to just repeat what we decided on for further clarification, and then also put some exact numbers to the compensation so people will understand that. So the incentive is staying. The incentive is for employees that are teachers, counselors, nurses, and librarians with 6 or more years of experience, okay? The amount will vary a little bit. I gave an approximate number. And just because I don't want to get my numbers mixed up anymore, Bill, will you talk about the compensation plan?
Yes, ma'am. The compensation plan will be $2.95 a day. That will be the raise for all employees. And that equates to our hourly employees for an increase of 37 cents an hour for all the hours they've worked.
Our goal is to continue to improve our enrollment. Improving our enrollment allows us to do this. So we are strategizing every day as to how we can continue to do that, because then this allows us to do more for our employees. Thank you, board members, very much for your support and for all you do for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I would just like to say, Dr. Ball, I just want to piggyback off of her. Many of us up here are educators. We know that there is not enough money in the world to pay educators for what they do. And I'm not just talking about teachers, because all of the other people that are in the lives of our students, they all deserve to be compensated. And so we know that this is not a lot, but it's something, and we wanted to show that to you. Anybody else? All right, then we will move on to item 5E, consider and take possible action regarding amending the 2019-2020 compensation plan to provide stipends for the Teacher of the Year winners. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the amendment to the 2019-2020 compensation plan to provide Teacher of the Year winners the following stipends: $500 for the campus level and $1,000 for the district level.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded at this time. Let me clear. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Well, then you may proceed to vote. That vote passes unanimously. And so, high school is, what did you say? 1,700?
No, ma'am.
What am I looking? Oh, okay.
The
Campus
campus
teacher,
would be $500.
100, and the district teacher of the year would be $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right. Item 5F, consider and take possible action regarding the approval of personnel report updates, and we will take care of that in closed session. So we'll move on to item 6, discussion items and reports. Dr. Ball, Superintendent Report.
Yes, ma'am. We have a video that we would like to show you. So we have updated our construction video, so we'd like to share
Okay.
it tonight, and then it'll be available for everybody to view. But I do believe that you will be the first ones to see it.
Okay.
The November 2019 construction report takes a look at some of the work being performed around the district. Judson ISD is in the middle of multiple construction projects. This work is primarily related to the 2016 and 2017 bonds. Currently, 3 of the biggest active projects are Kirby Middle School, Kitty Hawk Middle School, and Veterans Memorial High School. Kirby Middle School, a demolition and renovation project. A look at the big picture, buildings 100, which house the administration, and building 400, which house the art and family consumer science, have already been demolished and debris has been removed. These programs are in the new E-Wing. Also, a new gymnasium replaced Building 600. After the completion of the new CTE building, Building 500 will be demolished. This will allow the completion of a fire lane and bus circulation loop. The entire project is approximately at 80% and scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2020. Kitty Hawk Middle School, also a demolition and renovation project. The overall scope of work involves utilities re-infrastructure, a new gymnasium, and an academic wing. Once the new building is occupied, the removal of buildings 1,300, 1,200, 200, and partially 300 will occur to create a new courtyard. The entire project is approximately at 65% and scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2020. Veterans Memorial High School. This scope of work involves the addition of a new academic wing that will help accommodate the expected increase in student enrollment to 2,400. Also, the addition of a new 500-seat auditorium with supporting services such as a black box theater, green room, costume area, and set construction lab, as well as baseball and softball fields with respective field houses and 4 additional tennis courts. The entire project is approximately at 45% and scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2020. Park Village Elementary. According to the recommendations from our Bond, Building, and Facilities Steering Committee, Park Village's scope of work has been identified and prioritized as value engineering items. Based on this, the general contractor has provided adjusted pricing for board approval. Woodlake Elementary. Also similar to Park Village, Woodlake's scope of work has been identified and prioritized as value engineering items. These items will be reviewed by the general contractor to provide adjusted pricing. In a future board meeting, the contract pricing will be recommended for board approval. This is not an exhaustive overview, but a brief update on Judson ISD's current construction projects. You may contact the Operations Department for any comments, concerns, and/or questions.
Good job.
That is it. Dr. Ball was saying that the visuals should help in telling the story. I know it was a lot of information in a short period of time, but now you can rewatch it if you would like to catch up as well. That's the construction report. Yes, ma'am?
Let's move on to item 6B, Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, the first presentation. Dr. Ball?
Yes, Mr. Atkins is going to do this presentation.
Good evening, Madam President, Board. The first report is an annual report that's required by let's see if we can get it going here. Okay. It's been required in the state of Texas since 2001, and it measures the financial health of school districts, and it has currently 15 standards that we're going to look at, and then it has some disclosures that we have to do at the end. School districts are rated in 4 areas. You can be superior, above standard, meet standard, or substandard achievement. If you get a rating of substandard achievement, then you have to file a corrective action plan with TEA. We district earned a superior district, again, rating for this year. And this is based on the 2017-18 data, because it's running a year behind. So the 15 criteria that we talked about, they, again, are on the 17-18 financial data. And so we'll go over those. The first one is, did our annual financial report and data get submitted to TEA within 30 days of November 27th? And they were submitted on November 27th last year. The second factor was in the audit report, was there an unmodified opinion? And yes, we had an unmodified opinion in our audit report last year. The third, 2B, is in the independent audit, did they, was it free of any instances of material weakness or internal controls? And there were no material weaknesses found in the audit report. The third was a school district in compliance with the payment terms of all of its debt agreements during the fiscal year. And yes, Judson ISD made all of its debt payments on time. The fourth, number 4, is did the district make timely payments to TRS, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, and government and other government agencies? And yes, all of our payments to government agencies were made timely. Number 5, now we really start looking at some of the financials. Was the total unrestricted net position balance, net of accretion interest on capital appreciation bonds, in the governmental activities column statement greater than 0? So did we have a net position greater than 0? It's not being rated this year because if you remember, over the last 2 or 3 years, we implemented GASB 68 and GASB 75, which now school districts have to carry a proportionate share of TRS's liability because they're underfunded. So we have to pick that up. And so just about every district in the state has a negative net position due to that. Number 6 were the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund of the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures. And we got 10 out of 10 points. We had cash on hand and investments to cover about 5 months' worth of operations. Number 7 was a measure of assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt. This is looking at our short-term liabilities. We got 8 out of 10. It's the same score we had the previous year. We did not get all of the 10 points. The ratio would have had to have been 3.0, and we were at 2.7. So, close. Number 8, this is looking at our long-term liabilities. Was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? There's also another caveat here for fast-growing districts, and we did not meet that. But we got 6 out of 10 points. That's the same rating we got in the previous fiscal year. And we would have to have, the ratio we have is 0.7345. We would have had to have a 0.6 or below to get all 10 points. And a lot of that's just because we've been doing a lot of building lately, so we have a lot of debt out there. Number 9, did the school district's general fund revenue equal or exceed expenditures? Yes, it did. We got 10 out of 10. Again, we had about 130 days of cash on hand. Number 10 was the debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet the required debt service. Again, we got 10 out of 10. We had a ratio of 1.7, meaning that we had 1.7 times the amount we needed to make our debt payments. Number 11 was the school district's administrative cost ratio less than the threshold ratio. The Texas Education Agency said it should be between the range of 8.55 and 18.55. We superseded that, and we are at 6.17. So we're even outside the range, so we got all 10 points for that. Number 12, did the school district not have a 15% decline in student-to-staff ratio over 3 years? This would show that we had declining enrollment, but we weren't decreasing staff, and so that's a concern at a school district. Again, we got 10 out of 10. We only had a 5.65% decline in our ratio. Number 13, did the comparison of PEMS data to the like information in the annual financial audit result in a aggregate variance of less than 3%? And I want to give some kudos to our business services people or accountants, because we had 0% difference between what we submitted in our annual financial audit and what we submitted in PEMS. So that's great news. Number 14, did the external independent auditor indicate the annual financial audit was free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, and federal funds? This is our single audit where they look at our programs. And again, we got 10 of 10. There were no instances of any of those issues. And the last one was, did the school district not receive an adjusted repayment schedule for the fiscal year from the foundation school program due to a financial hardship? And no, we are not in a financial hardship, so we did not receive an adjusted repayment schedule. Again, some of the other factors were added later on in their disclosures, and we'll go over that. Again, the district has a good fund balance and continues to maintain that. We will be using some of that over the coming years to finish up the hails on the roofs, repairs. Our tax collection rates dropped a little bit this year, but still right up there close to 100%. So that continues to be good. And then this is just kind of a 5-year look at our changes in fund balance and our fund balance as a percent of expenditures. And you can see we hover around the 30 range when we have that ratio. This is a look at our administrative cost. Again, we continue to be below the state requirement on that indicator. And again, in 2007, they added some disclosures. One of the first ones is the superintendent's contract, and it's located on our website, and here is the link to it on our website. We have reimbursements received by the superintendent and the board over the year. Much of this is for the board going trainings and events. Outside compensation received by the superintendent, there was none. Gifts received by executive officer and board members in the fiscal year, and there were none reported. And business transactions between the district and board members, again, none reported. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Is there any discussion? Thank you, Mr. Atkins. All right, update on board advisory committees. We'll start down there with Mr. Diaz. Do you have any reports to give from a committee, sir? No? Okay. I'm going to change that. Ms. Rodriguez?
None to report at this time.
Okay. Ms. Canoyer?
None to report, but the curriculum committee will be meeting on December 4th. So if anybody would like to join us, we'd love to have you.
I attended the bond and facilities meeting. It was held at Park Village Elementary, and the same presentation that you got tonight is what we got. So thank you, Dr. Fields. And Ms. King?
None to report at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, where's my agenda? May I look at yours? Okay, item D. Update on board trainings, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items. Do we have any reports, upcoming things, events? We've got this Saturday is our Thanksgiving, JEF-sponsored Thanksgiving feast at Wagner High School, and the Wobble Gobble 5K run, which starts at 8 a.m. And following the 5K run will be our Thanksgiving feast at Wagner High School cafeteria. And we're all encouraging everybody to come out and share in a festive time with us. Anybody else? Go ahead, Ms. Canoyer.
Yes, also the Judson Education Foundation's Jingle Bell Jamboree, which is a wonderful craft show. Come do your holiday shopping. We'll be back at Judson High School this year on Saturday, December 7th. So I hope we see you there.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And then we still have football games going on, just FYI.
We do. Okay. And basketball starts.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our closed session. We will go into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.072, deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, attorney consultation regarding legal issues related to potential anticipated or pending construction, litigation, and construction issues. The time is 7:34. We'll go into closed session.